Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm doing a little bit of a new setup here just because it's just been so hot in this house. I've tried maybe 3 or 4 times to film this in the dining room like I do most of my videos, and I get through maybe 5 or 10 minutes before I just start breaking into really bad sweats. In here I have a ceiling fan on right above me. This is the spare room of our house, so I just figured let's try it here. But today's kind of a special day. At the time that I'm uploading this, it is now the 30th anniversary of one of my favorite childhood movies. And it's one of those weird 90s cult family films that didn't do well in theaters, but in the years since, I mean, people have definitely heard of it. I mean, if you were a 90s kid, you've definitely heard of this film if you didn't see it. And the film in question is none other than the 1995 fantasy film, The Indian in the Cupboard, directed by Frank Oz. Yes, that Frank Oz. Based on the novel by Lynn Reed Banks and with special effects by Industrial Light and Magic, ILM. Yes, that ILM. And it was released in July of 1995 with co-distribution between Columbia Pictures and Paramount Pictures. And as I mentioned before, it wasn't really a big hit in theaters. It had a budget of about $45 million, and it only ended up making about $35 million at the box office, as well as getting a sort of mixed critical response. Some critics thought it was dark, some critics were comparing it to E.T. I mean, bear in mind, Melissa Matheson, who was a screenwriter on E.T., was a screenwriter on this film as well. But in spite of that, in the years since, the movie has kind of become this sort of 90s cult family favorite. For instance, if you were a 90s kid and you went to your friend's house and were going through their movie collection, more than likely they probably had this film. Again, I mean, the movie did so-so, but I think part of the reason a lot of people ended up gravitating towards the movie in its home video release was because it did have a very unique home video release at the time. And that's what we're really here to talk about, because again, this is one of those 90s cult films where not only had a lot of kids say, oh yeah, I remember seeing that movie growing up, but a lot of people will also say, oh, I remember having that on VHS. It came with a key and an Indian figure and everything. So yes, this is definitely one of those movies where I think a lot of people tend to remember it more for the home video release, more specifically the VHS release. Now, there was a couple VHS variants of Indian in the Cupboard back then, but the one that I think most people will definitely remember is this one, the clamshell release that was part of the Columbia TriStar Family Collection. As you can see, we have our main image of Omri holding Little Bear in his hand. We have the key down there, and down there it says free Indian cupboard and key included. And we'll touch upon that in a minute, but we'll look at the back right here. We have Omri peeking in the cupboard, and then we have this little box here with specs in it, which reads, each clamshell package contains cupboard. Reverse the paper insert to transform the outer box into a cupboard. Indian. Key, video cassette. When you would buy this tape new, it would come with this. It comes with a figurine of Little Bear and a plastic replica of the key. And there's like a little adhesive on the back there, so that way when you would buy it, it would be stuck on there like that as such. And as you can see, we have this little fake keyhole thing in the side of the cover there, because one of the things that you could do with this cover was reverse the paper insert so it would look more like the cupboard that you see in the film. You open it up, stick your Little Bear figure in there, close it up, take your plastic key here, stick it in your fake keyhole here, open it up, and now it becomes a sort of makeshift cupboard, if you will. There's your Little Bear figure, and then you can either reenact the movie or make your own sort of Indian in the Cupboard related adventures, if you will. But yes, this is definitely something that I think sticks out in a lot of people's minds when they think about this movie. They not only think about the movie, they think about the home video release that came in this clamshell where you can flip the thing over, and it becomes this sort of makeshift cupboard with a plastic key and your plastic Little Bear figure. Then if you wanted, as what was typical with that clamshell release when you bought it new, it came with this sort of pamphlet advertising Indian in the Cupboard collectibles, or figurines if you will. As you can see, we have our army medic, we have Little Bear, we have the key, we have Cowboy Boone and his horse. And basically what you would do with this is there is a mail-in form in here where you can either order specific figures or you can order the whole collection. You could even order different quantities of them if you wanted to. And along with that little fill-in form, you would send a check or money form to pay for all these figures, as well as the shipping and handling. Now bear in mind, the Little Bear figure as well as the key is the same one that came with the VHS release, so if you only wanted to order the cowboy and the horse and the medic or vice versa, that was an option as well. But basically, this mail-in form was the only way at the time you could technically get the figures. Or at least it was for a time, because it turns out that there was actually another option you had if you wanted these figures. And that was this right here. As you can see, it's the same VHS release, but if we flip it over, we have all our figures here. And just for clarification, that's the same VHS release. As you can still see, it does still say free Indian cupboard and key included. Still has the same specs on the back cover there. But yes, this one does come with this tray with all these figures included. And at least to their credit, they did try to compensate for the cover discrepancy by updating the necessary information on the slip cover here. As you can see, it does say free toys included. Turn this package over, so this is where the front cover of the movie would be seen. And then when you flip it over, you would see the figurines there. And then same with the side here. It says paper insert reverses, turning this package into your own magic cover to hold your toy figurines. And just for fun, I figured I'd just show off the figures real quick. If you recall, years ago, I actually did do a video on here showing off the figures. More specifically, I was trying to compare how the actual figures compared to the ones that they were actually advertising. I literally talked about Little Bear and the Key. It's the same ones you would get if you just bought the clamshell release that only had these two. It's the same ones. So the ones that we're really only looking at this time is the Army Medic, the Cowboy, and the Horse. And yes, the Cowboy can be mounted onto the horse there, so you can pretend like he's riding them or whatever. So bear in mind, that set that I just showed off where you got the video with all those figures, I didn't even know existed until the internet. Every time I went to a video store in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I saw a copy of Indian in the Cupboard there, it was the one that only had the figure of Little Bear and the Key. It was not until eBay that I even knew that there was actually a VHS release that actually included all the figures together. As far as I know, it was never like an online exclusive or anything. I've seen people sell copies of these online and they have like a Walmart sticker or whatever on it, so I know it was at least sold in stores at one point, but I myself never saw it in a video store at all back in the day. So what is the actual story behind that set? I mean, if you were supposed to do the mail-in offer, what was the point of doing a video release that had all the figures together? Well, this is my theory. Take this with a grain of salt, but this is what I'm thinking that they were doing. As I mentioned before, this movie was not a big hit in theaters. So I think when they were planning out the home video release, they were trying to compensate for the fact that they were trying to recoup the money that they lost in the theatrical run. So they thought they would spice it up a little bit. They'll make the clamshell look like a cupboard. They'll give you a Little Bear figure as well as a key, and you can do your own reenactment of the movie or whatever with the actual case itself. But if you wanted to expand on those adventures, they would make these other figures, but the only way you could get them is by doing the mail-in offer. But this is what I'm thinking. They probably did not get enough orders with the mail-in offer to clear out the inventory. So what they most likely ended up doing was to clear out that inventory, they thought, well, let's just re-release the video again, but we'll include all the figures this time. And that's my theory as to why they did it that way. I'm not saying that's true, that's just my theory on it. And I'll see people on eBay sell that set online for really ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, again, I know this is kind of rare, but at the same time, it's definitely not rare to the point that I think a lot of people need to be selling this to the point that they do. Hell, I even still see people online selling the copy with the Little Bear figure and the key together without the other figures for stupid amounts of money. So, but this is definitely one of the things I think sticks out with a lot of people when they think about this movie. These figures, the clamshell VHS release with the inverted cover that allowed people to sort of reenact the movie or come up with their own adventures based on the movie. So I'll kind of wrap it here. I just thought this would be a nice fun way to sort of celebrate the anniversary of this movie. It's been one of my favorites since my childhood, and you know, I definitely have a history of owning this movie on VHS. I mean, both the version with the Little Bear figure and the key, as well as the version that has all the figures together, as well as holding on to this promotional insert that was promoting those figures. So I just thought that would be a fun way to celebrate the anniversary of this movie today. Show off what not only has helped make the movie stick out to me over the years, but I'm sure has helped make the movie stick out to a lot of other people as well. If you remember Indian in the Cupboard, the movie, odds are you remember the VHS release. So I'll start wrapping it here. If you're a fan of this movie, I hope this was a fun little nostalgic journey for you. As always, I appreciate everybody's support. Thank you for watching. I have more stuff in the works. Hopefully I'll have some of that coming soon. It's been hot in this house, and sadly because of that, there might not be a big influx of content coming to this channel this summer. But anyway, happy 30th anniversary to the movie Indian in the Cupboard. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and take care.